Hello YouTube, this is Boston Best 047, and in this video I'm going to discuss something that is a rather controversial idea. And this video is not going to be an explanation of the concept per se, but rather what can be meant by the term. Now the term is something that is used sometimes by people like me who are interested in men's issues and things of that nature. And it's something that's sometimes thrown around, but it's not something that's really believed. So I'm going to try to put this in context. And I got thinking about this recently because I was watching Man, Woman, Myth's female supremacy video, which, by the way, was great, and I suggest everyone go out and watch it. But in that video, he was talking about the idea of female supremacy, the term. And what he said was that female supremacy was soft and suffocating as opposed to, say, grand and domineering, so to speak. Now, it got me thinking about the idea or the concept of female privilege. And a lot of people associate the idea of privilege when they compare, say, a concept such as white privilege or male privilege. It's an assumption of power. It's institutional. It's a product of the culture. And this is something. These ideas are related to the anti-oppression movement on the left. They talk about anti-oppression work, and so they come up with privilege checklists. Like the most famous are male privilege and white privilege, but then there's also transgender, or not transgender, cisgender privilege, cisgender privilege rather, and straight privilege, and probably any other number of privileges. I mean, you could probably come up with any privilege checklist you want, pretty much, but the assumption is always institutional. It's always based on power relations. Now, however, female privilege is an altogether different concept. It's not something that's always obvious. It's not something we're aware of. And on the contrary, much of the time, we're not aware of it at all. We just don't see it. But female privilege is very much a real thing. In fact, I would say it's far more the case than, say, male privilege. It's very real, and it allows the human female, much in the way of leeway, whereas the rest of us are essentially owned by our society. That is, males are, and you can quote me on this, owned by our society. Society owns us. They have a right to our labor. They have a right to our lives. If the country needs defending, we are worker drones, all of us. And some males have the luxury or even the privilege of ruling over us. But we're owned. We're owned. Society needs us to do stuff. We're expected of it. And if we can't defend ourselves, we can't make it work, what have you, we don't get any handouts. There's nothing where we can get handouts. To the extent that there's always some other circumstance that is related to it. Therefore, there's nothing that we get for being male. On the contrary, the female has many areas where she has benefits. But this does not rule out that she may have other areas where she's burdened. If she tries to engage in male affairs, she can be discriminated against. Thus, there's areas where she can be discriminated against. There's no denying this. And in leadership, maybe she doesn't have the luxury of being able to be a leader or what have you. There are problems in that regard where she is very much affected negatively, and therefore her privilege does not rule out. Whereas the other privileges, or the privilege in the concept of being male in that area, all things that the male has to work for. He has to prove himself, and it's circumstantial. If he's an alpha male, that is, if he's a top tier male, he gets privileges. If he's in leadership, he gets privileges. If he's born in a good family or something, he gets privileges. If he takes over for his father, he has privileges. There's all sorts of that. Those are all areas where he can be privileged. There's no denying it. But for other males, there's no privilege. But the female is privileged by her biology, by her reproductive function, by the fact that she controls access to sex. by the fact that the male always has to prove himself to the female. There's no privilege of rape. Contrary to what radical feminists might say, there is no privilege to rape. Men can't rape. Rape is bad. Rape is wrong because it's the violation of a woman. He can't insult the woman. He can't smack the woman. He can't beat the woman. The woman is always entitled to physical protection because she's the weaker sex. Therefore, she will always be protected. She'll always be valuable because she produces life. Life comes from her womb. The male does not have that. They cannot just inseminate her for no reason. There's nothing going the other way. She has total control of reproduction. And in the debate over abortion, it's all about her having choice. Her choice to decide when life begins. Pretty much. She has the right. It's up to her. She has control over it. The male doesn't. The male has no right in that regard. What is female privilege? Well, how can female privilege be thought of, rather? It's the invisible, not always obvious factor that she controls reproduction. But the female, because of all this, she can presumably use sex or reproduction, or access to reproduction, to get what she wants. Some women do that. She controls sex. Men want sex. She has the market value for it. She can use those things to get what she wants in some instances. What is female privilege? Well, female privilege is being able to sit back and have society come to you. Not society come to you, but men come to you. If you just want to be attractive, you make yourself up nice, you can go out, men will talk to you. That's female privilege. Female privilege is being paid for on a date. That's female privilege. Female privilege is being able to stay home and with children. That's female privilege. Female privilege is stay home with your children. That's female. Those are examples of female privilege. Female privilege is being able to be taken care of literally from cradle to grave and having a right to somebody else's money. A man does not have the right, in other words, to sire you, to sire a child with you, and not be able to provide for that child. That's female privilege. Alimony is female privilege. Almost what you might call default mother custody, being a mother, shaping the young mind of a child, passing on the culture almost to the child, while the male outside is the disposable one who has to give you a home and make sure that you have somewhere where you can stay, where you can raise your children. And those are female privilege. That's what can be meant by female privilege. Thus, to reiterate, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on it, female privilege can be thought of as the invisible and not always obvious reproductive benefits, or benefits as a result of access, or that she controls the womb. The womb is part of her, basically. I'm slopping this up, but that's the idea anyway, and that's all I'm going to say on it, and you can tell me what you think, and if this came out sloppy, I apologize, but anyway, that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.